Welcome back to my little channel. Today I'm going to address the similarities between socialism and National Socialism. And yes, National Socialism is the ideology that driven the NSDAP, which was the Nazi Party of Germany. First off and foremost, I want to make absolutely clear, I am in no way in favor of the Nazis or NSDAP, or Hitler for that matter. I think it was a vile attempt of forcing the world into a certain way. Having said that, there are strong similarities between socialism and National Socialism. The similarities are so high that it is somewhat surprising to me that a lot of people will try to make it sound that there are no similarities at all. Because National Socialism, Nazism, is bad. Yeah, well, you're right, I totally agree. But then what does that make socialism? But socialism isn't national. Yeah, I'm sorry. But if we look at most socialistic and even communistic countries that we've seen since the Second World War, they didn't have national in their name, but they definitely had national in their heart. But this is me judging. So let's look at what socialism really is supposed to be. Socialism is basically the doctrine that says there is no private ownership. Everything is property of everyone. There is no property of natural resources, there is no property of individual resources, there is no property of whatever you made. Because everything becomes a communal product, a social product. And a lot of people, even though they claim to be in favor of socialism, are not. Because that also would mean that that car you drive, well, I need it today. So let me drive your car, please. Because it's only a communal good. But wait a second, it's my car. But if it's your car, then you're not a socialist. If you think socialism is good for the world, but you do not want to share everything you own, then you yourself are not a socialist. In all fairness, look at Bernie Sanders in America. Dude preaches socialism, drives around in an Audi, what was it, A4, and basically has loads of money. But if you're truly a socialist, he would have shared everything with everyone. He doesn't. And herein lies the problem with socialism. But this video wasn't bitching on socialism. I'm only here to give comparisons between socialism and National Socialism. So what is National Socialism? Well, National Socialism was the ideology that Hitler used to get the Third Reich going. But in all fairness, it wasn't his ideology to begin with. Just like how fascism wasn't invented by Mussolini, but it made Mussolini big, National Socialism wasn't invented by Hitler, but it made Hitler big. What are the concepts of National Socialism? Well, funny enough, they're the same. National Socialism thrives on trying to make private ownership not a thing anymore. Everything was supposed to be governmental and for the society. And at the same time, they're trying to make the standard of living for anyone higher. This is something you always hear when it comes to socialism. We want to rise up the poorer people so that they have a higher standard of living. This is the same thing National Socialism did. For example, in socialism, you want to have shared healthcare, which, in all fairness, I don't think is a bad idea. I just don't think socialism is the best way to do it. Hitler was all in favor of shared healthcare. Well, that's basically what we have now. Hitler created roads so that the people could go everywhere easily. They even invented the weekend so that the workers could enjoy that they could go everywhere. Because it was all part of their world. But this is basically a socialistic idea. I'm not quite sure. I mean, there are lots of similarities between socialism and National Socialism, where socialism was started as a counter, or not started as a counter, but definitely thought up as a counter to capitalism. We see that during the rule of the NSDAP in Germany, capitalism didn't really have a foothold. Yes, there was private property, but if we look at the property of production, this was mostly in the hands of the state. Even if you were a private owner of a factory, you were basically told what to do with it. So we're talking about, well, how do you call it? Planned economy, planned production. This is what we see in socialism and communism. This is not what we see in capitalism. In capitalism, you make what you can sell, so you make money. But in Hitler's Germany, you made what you were told because that's what the country wanted. You could get some money out of it, obviously, because otherwise you wouldn't do it. Well, maybe you still would. But it wasn't capitalistic. It was state governed. Another thing that set the German country apart from capitalism was that under the NSDAP they introduced wage and price controls, which in a way is a very socialistic thing to do. Because under capitalism, you ask for a product what you can get, so the market will decide the price, and you will pay a worker what you can get away with paying. So again, the market sets the price. But under socialism, no, the market does not set the price. The planned economy sets the price. And as every economist out there will tell you, if you have a steady income for everyone and you set prices for goods, eventually those goods will not become available anymore, because if it's reachable for everyone, then there is no market economy. And market economy is not only something that will drive prices up or down, it also prevents people from hoarding certain goods. Now, if everyone can afford the very best computer out there, there are two problems. One, everyone will have the very best computer, which is nice for them, but there will be a shortage of the very best computers. And two, you take away the incentive for producers to create a better computer, because they will not make money off of it. So yeah, this is what we see in planned economies. This is what we saw in Nazi Germany. Eventually, everything was, well, because of the price, how do you call it, price cap on things, we saw that they stopped creating a lot of goods. We saw chaos on the market because certain goods were no longer available. One of the things we see in planned economies is that there's a growth in black markets. Why? Well, if everyone has a surplus of money but they can't spend it on anything, and I have the goods but I like to have more money, I would sell the goods at a higher price, which the market doesn't allow because the market is planned. Therefore, I sell goods on the black market, which in a way creates instability within a country. And these instabilities we have seen in every socialistic country out there, even the communistic ones. And we also saw this in Nazi Germany. And the way Nazi Germany dealt with it is the same as we've seen in all of these other countries as well. They cracked down hard on it. So you're getting a totalitarian state where doing what you want to do has become illegal. Because, hey, it's your bread, and if you want to sell your bread, you should be able to. But the market economy is gone. There's price caps, and if you sell it at higher than a price cap, you're breaking the law. And even though we might consider this law unjust, that doesn't matter. You're breaking the law in this country, and this country feels that they are justified. This is what we see in every communistic and socialistic country. And we saw it in Nazi Germany. Now, another thing that happens when you have a shortage of goods, eventually the populace will become unhappy and money will start devaluating. We saw this, for example, as far back in history as the Roman Empire, when they started to force their, let's call it whatever you want to call it, but in a way socialism on the populace. They bought out farmers and they gave food to the poor, and eventually the money became so worthless that they didn't even accept their own money as payment for taxes. We see the same thing happening, well, not the not accepting of their own money, but we see the same thing happening in every socialistic country out there. We saw the same thing happening in Italy and Germany. They had huge inflations. Why? Because of their planned economy. Planned economies don't work. It creates a huge inflation because there's lots of money, but people can't really spend it, so the money isn't really worth anything. Another thing that Nazi Germany and socialism have in common is the control of the media. We see the control of the media as an important thing because the people need to be made to believe that they live in a good world, even though they notice that a lot of stuff that they used to be able to get, they can't get anymore. By telling people they still live in a good world, you rile up the people. By making sure that there's a common enemy, you focus their anger. This is what Nazi Germany did. Now, in all fairness, the Treaty of Versailles gave the Germans plenty of reasons to be angry with the rest of Europe, but socialism tipped it over the edge. Because you have unhappy people in a country that has been, well, under state-planned economy, which creates a huge inflation and a shortage of goods, and there is already a problem with Europe, so the government of this country can easily blame whatever problem it has on Europe. Well, there wasn't a Europe back then, but the European countries around that. So you have a very negative feeling of the populace, and it's being pointed towards a common enemy. This is how Hitler was able to get the people of Germany to rally behind his call for war. Now, as I said, the Treaty of Versailles had a strong deal with that too, but the other strong deal was the chaos created within its own country because of the planned economy. The only way to grow out of it, and this is what we've seen with empires in the past as well, the only way to grow out of their rut, so to speak, is by conquering others, claiming property of others because your own property is dwindling. The value of Germany was dwindling because of the planned economy, so they needed an influx in new value. This is something that has driven empires as far back as history. Okay, in all fairness, I think I've proven enough that communism, Nazism, and socialism are very close together. Fascism is too, by the way. They're all part of the same family. But let's address one of the points people usually use to claim Nazism isn't socialism. It's the national part. Nazism is inherently racist, according to a lot of people. And you know what? You could be right. But that's an in-group, out-group mentality that goes beyond political endeavors. For example, if we look at Russia, trust me, they were communistic, but they are very nationalistic. They just don't call it that. If we look at Cuba, Cuba was communistic, but they were very nationalistic as well. Yeah, but those are communist countries. Communism is bad. Fair enough. Let's look at countries that claim to not be communist, but socialistic in nature. Hell, look at a country like Venezuela now. It's still a very nationalistic country. The only difference between socialistic countries and national socialistic countries is that national socialistic countries are honest enough to put national in their title. But inherently, it makes no difference. Yeah, but the Nazis were really bad against Jews. Yeah, I'm sorry, but look at the other socialistic countries and communistic countries and look how they treated people who didn't belong to them. There is nothing new in National Socialism when it comes to that. The same happened in communism. The same happens still in socialism. So the argument that, yeah, but Hitler killed a lot of folks, therefore it mustn't have been socialism, is inherently flawed, because socialism and communism has always killed lots of people. And don't get me wrong, I'm not excusing Hitler. He is a bastard. National Socialism was a terrible thing for Nazi Germany. It was a terrible thing for Germany. But at the same thing, it was socialism. That's the only thing I can say about it. Yeah, but he hated Jews. It doesn't matter who he hates. Socialism doesn't mean you have to be nice to everyone. Socialism never meant you have to be nice to everyone. Socialism is still very heavily reliant on in-group, out-group mentality. And everything who's part of the in-group will turn on everything that's part of the out-group. That's basic in-group, out-group mentality. So yeah, I'm sorry. If your strongest argument on why Hitler wasn't a socialist is because he hated people, that's no argument at all. In all fairness, yes, 22 million people died because of Hitler, but let's then not make too big a point of that, because over 100 million people died because of socialism. And in all fairness, I am willing to put those 22 million that Hitler killed on the list of communism, socialism, because they belonged there. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying Hitler did nothing wrong. That's bullshit. Hitler was a bastard, and if he weren't dead, we should kill him again, which basically makes us bastards as well, but hey, fuck it. But Hitler belongs in the line of Mao Zedong, Stalin, and Pol Pot. And these are champions in their own way of socialism, because hey, they brought communism, and communism is the end goal of socialism. No, he doesn't belong there. Okay, well, unfortunately, he does. Hitler was a bastard, but he wasn't a right-wing bastard. He was a left-wing bastard. His bastardized version of socialism wasn't that bastardized at all. It was basic socialism. And yes, Hitler liked fascism. He was in favor of fascism. But in all fairness, fascism is a nationalized form of socialism. Again, it brings back the nationalistic thing of it, but it's all part of the same family of thought. Community needs to do things, the community needs to do things for the community, and there is no privatized goal for anyone. It's all part of we and us, not me and you. And that's the problem with socialism. Don't get me wrong, there are absolutely good ideas within socialism, but as soon as you force them, you have a problem. And this is not me just saying this. We've seen this throughout history. And Hitler, unfortunately, clearly was an idiot. But he used socialism as socialism was intended. Now, all the death that happened did not happen because of socialism, but it was part of socialism. And we need to recognize that, lest we make the same mistake again. Now, I'm not the only one thinking this. Of course, I'm not the only one thinking this. Otherwise, I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not that big of a thinker. Well, maybe I am, but not that big. So, if you want to learn more about this, look up, what's his name? Mises. He was an economist, and he fled Austria in 1940, made loads of books, amongst others, talking about how National Socialism was a problem, how socialism was a problem, and how it was the end of healthy societies. Read up on him, Mises. I will have a link to the wiki page on him. There you can find all sorts of links on other stuff. I'm flabbergasted. This is taking too long. I've been talking too much. So I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed your little rant, lecture thingy. Like, share, and subscribe if you feel so inclined. This is a heated topic, so any criticism, any questions, please feel free to ask them. And no, I will not silence anyone. I will not ignore anyone. I will, however, ask you to keep it clean. Yeah, if you won't, I'm sorry, that says something about you, not about me. So I will not ignore. I hope you enjoyed this one. and I hope to see you all soon.